Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thanks so much for clicking and spending part of your day here with me. Today we've got a brand new episode of real Reddit family drama stories. Moments that sounded normal at first, but completely spiraled out of control. So let's jump right into the first one. I married a man who has two kids, a 17-year-old daughter and a 19-year-old son. They both still live at home. Overall, our relationships are decent. I love my family, but like any family, we have conflicts from time to time. When issues come up, I usually talk them through with my two closest friends. I give them as much context and detail as possible because I don't want blind support. They're honest with me, and they're not afraid to tell me when I'm wrong. They've spent time with my husband and his kids. They know I care deeply about my family. Talking to them helps me calm down and think clearly before I try to resolve things at home. But today, my family told me something that completely caught me off guard. They said they are not okay with me talking to anyone outside the family about conflicts we have, including my two best friends. According to them, I should be able to sort things out in my own head and only discuss problems with the person involved. And if I really need advice, I'm only allowed to talk to one of three specific family members. I tried to explain that talking things through helps me release the initial anger and frustration so I can come back calmer and handle things better. I told my friends don't always take my side and that I value hearing perspectives that I might be missing and perspectives that the three of them might be missing too. But they said it makes things awkward when they see my friends because they don't know what I've shared. They're worried my friends will see them in a bad light, even though I always try to explain both sides. They also said they never talk about family problems with their friends. My stepdaughter said, I just say something's bothering me, but I don't share details, otherwise it makes you look bad. My husband said that everything about the family should be solved within the family. Another reason they gave is that my friends don't know us well enough and don't have the full context of our family. Without knowing every single detail, they believe my friends can't possibly give good advice. They told me I'm only allowed to talk about conflicts after they're fully resolved, and even then, I would need to tell them exactly what I shared and who I shared it with. That's when I started to feel like something was really wrong. What makes this even worse is how all of this came to light. The kids found out I had been talking to a friend because my husband shared my private text messages with his daughter without my consent and without telling me. I only found out later during a one-on-one conversation with my stepdaughter. She started to mention something specific, then stopped herself and said, I don't know if I'm supposed to talk about this. When I brought that moment up in front of everyone, I asked if she could explain since we were all there. She looked at my husband and said, I don't know, can I? You said not to bring it up. That's when it really hit me. I apologized for sharing what I had shared, but I couldn't agree to stop talking to my friends completely. This is a big issue for me, and I don't believe in giving my word if I know I can't keep it. I told them I needed to talk to someone about this. They said no one knows us better than family, and friends are the worst people to talk to. So here I am, and I honestly need to know, am I really the asshole for talking to my friends? This next story is about family boundaries and what happens when parents cross them. I'm 18 and I live with my parents. I've been paying rent since I was 16 because without my help, my parents would be financially screwed. I didn't really have a choice. I helped out because I felt responsible. A few months ago, my parents told me they were seeing someone together and that the relationship was open. Honestly, I didn't care. It wasn't my business and it didn't affect me. That changed when the guy they were seeing started staying over. At first, it was just overnight visits. Then it turned into him basically living here. He treated the place like it was his house. He tried telling me what to do. He ate all the food that I paid for. I tried talking to my parents about it. They shut me down immediately. They said it was their house and they could have whoever they wanted there. So I tried to put up with it. Until the day he tried to discipline my dog. And not in a normal way. The moment I saw what he was doing, I completely lost it. I snapped. I started yelling. I called him every name I could think of. I said things I probably shouldn't have said. I was done holding it in. My parents ran in asking what was going on. Instead of backing me up, they started yelling at me. That's when I turned on them. I told them they were terrible parents. I told them they could shove their house up their asses. I said I wasn't paying rent anymore to live in a place where I had zero say. And if they wanted him there so badly, then he could cover my rent. After that, I packed up and left. I've been staying with my boyfriend since. A few days ago, my parents texted me asking when I was going to pay rent. I told them to forget it. I reminded them exactly what I said that night. And now I'm sitting here wondering, I don't feel wrong for refusing to pay rent anymore, but I do know I went way too far with my words. So, was I the asshole? That last story was already heavy, but this one somehow goes even deeper. This is the third story. It's about being a kid and realizing your own home isn't actually safe. I'm 18 and I'm my parents' only biological child. They always wanted more kids, but they couldn't have any more. So when I was 6, they decided to start fostering children, hoping that some of them would eventually become eligible for adoption. At first, all they told me was that I'd have a bunch of other kids to play with. That sounded great to 6-year-old me. What they didn't tell me was how much pressure I was under to agree. They pushed me hard to say I wanted them to foster. I had to be fully on board no matter what. I didn't really get a choice, especially once a caseworker got involved and I was interviewed alongside my parents. Something I learned years later is that most foster parents can set limits. They can say what kinds of needs they're able to handle so kids can be placed somewhere safe for everyone. My parents didn't do that. They said yes to any child, no matter the behavioral issues. And they never once thought about me. Because of that, we often had kids who were extremely traumatized. Some were angry at the world. Some were violent. And I was the one who paid for it. I was attacked more times than I can count. I was punched, kicked, bitten, put in chokeholds. I was burned. I was hurt in ways no kid should ever experience at home. My parents refused to give me a lock on my door. When I tried to make a makeshift doorstop, they took it away as soon as they found it. Whenever I tried to talk about how bad things were, my parents shut me down. They told me that if I ruined fostering for those kids or for them, then I was a selfish little asshole. They'd ask me if I really thought my life was worse than kids who had been abused. They said this even after one foster kid completely lost it and beat me badly enough to leave bruises all over my face and body. It was summer, so they just kept me hidden until the marks faded. I learned to walk on eggshells, depending on which kid was in the house at the time. There were periods where things weren't as bad. Some kids were okay. But the overall experience was so awful that I struggled to feel safe with any of them around. I spoke to caseworkers every few months, but my parents made me afraid to be honest. None of the foster kids were ever eligible for adoption. None of them stayed permanently. And honestly, I felt relief every time one left. My parents knew that. And they resented me for it. A few times, caseworkers suggested that I get therapy. My parents never took that seriously. The foster kids got all the therapy they needed. They were incredibly devoted to them. But when it came to me, it felt like my needs didn't matter at all. Sometimes I honestly think it was their way of punishing me for being their only biological child. I turned 18 in March. I moved out immediately and stayed with a friend and his family. A couple weeks ago, I moved to another state to wait for college to start. Since March, I haven't spoken to my parents once. Some extended family members reached out and asked why. When I told them I was no contact, they said it was disgusting to turn my back on my parents. When I explained why, they all seemed to agree on one thing: that I'm a monster for holding my parents' kindness toward other kids against them. They told me they're still my parents, that even if they made mistakes, I should forgive them. That I shouldn't throw my family away so easily. They say it's just my age, that people my age are too quick to cut off their entire family over small things. But none of this feels small to me. So now I'm asking, am I really the asshole for walking away?
The third story shows how money can completely break trust inside a family. I'm 18, and some of my relatives recently came to visit to celebrate both my graduation and my birthday. Usually when they visit, they give money to me and my siblings as gifts, and just as usual, that money ends up with my mom. Every single time. Birthday money, holiday money, even cash given for religious celebrations, my mom always takes it. It's caused resentment for years, but none of us ever really questioned it beyond some quiet frustration. This time was different. One of my aunts gave me money while my mom was watching, and my mom immediately took it. Then another aunt gave me money and quietly told me to use it to buy clothes for myself and not to tell my mom. So I didn't. I kept the money. I split it between my savings and checking account. Altogether, it came out to about $500. This was the first time in my life I ever kept the money my relatives gave me instead of handing it over. I'm low income, about to start college, and I'm planning to go no contact with some family members. That money could actually help me survive. It was a gift meant for me. My mom later asked if that aunt had given me money. I lied and said no. I know lying wasn't ideal, but my mom has a history of exploding over things like this. I've already been kicked out before, and this argument happened just one day after I had been allowed back home. She called my aunt anyway. My aunt told her the truth. After that, my mom completely lost it. She called me an asshole. She said I should have told her about the money. She claimed she usually uses gift money to give cash to our cousins, and now I owed her the full $500 out of my next paycheck. I told her that every single dollar my relatives had given me my entire life had gone straight to her, that this time the money could help me with college, that it was a gift to me, and even my cousin told me not to hand it over. She didn't care. She said I was irresponsible, she said I was selfish. Then she shifted the conversation to how she uses that money for bills and car insurance, even though she had already taken money from another cousin that same visit. She truly believes that any money given to me belongs to her. I refused to give up my paycheck to repay her. She demanded at least $200. I refused again. The argument went in circles. Every attempt to explain myself just turned into more yelling. Half of that money will go toward medical expenses I need over the next few months. The rest will go toward college supplies. My mom doesn't care. Any mention of the money turns into outrage. And honestly, it hurts more than the money itself. I wish she cared more about me than about cash. College starts soon. I know I'll be lonely without family support, but I also know I'd rather be alone and free than stay connected to a parent who only sees me as income. So now I'm asking, am I the asshole for keeping money that was given to me? All right, that's going to do it for today. Let me know what you thought about these stories. Which one hit you the hardest? If you have a topic you want to hear next, more family drama, AITA stories, or something completely different, drop it in the comments. I read them. And if you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like. It really helps the channel more than you think. Subscribe if you want more real Reddit stories like this, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.